As announced, we now want to look towards Paris. At the hastily convened meeting between Olaf Scholz, the British Prime Minister Starmer, and the French President Macron, it concerns the future of Ukraine policy.
Good day. We have gathered today to discuss among some European heads of state and government how we want to handle the ongoing situation in supporting Ukraine, but also with regard to European security, our own strength. That is important, even if this is not the format where we make decisions. We do that in the European Council, we do that within the NATO structures where we are all together. And of course, many have a say in this to decide and to discuss. In this respect, it is a necessary, proper, informal conversation in a difficult situation for Europe. For us, it is very clear now we must continue to support Ukraine, and it must and can rely on us that this will be the case. We welcome that there are talks about peace development, but for us it must and is clear. This does not mean that there can be a dictated peace and that Ukraine must accept what is presented to it. In this respect, we are very closely coordinated with the Ukrainian president and Ukraine as a whole regarding these issues. For us, it is clear that the country must be able to continue its path towards the European Union. It must be able to defend its democracy and its sovereignty, and it must be able to maintain its own strong army. For this, we will also be needed together with our American and international friends and partners so that this can indeed succeed in times of peace. These matters are not up for negotiation. And making this clear is, I believe, important for all of us. At the same time, we talked about how we can put ourselves in a position to handle the tasks that are inevitably coming our way, which have to do with the fact that we need to make Europe stronger in terms of its own capabilities to ensure security and defense. And there is something to decide there. We are all already committed to each other to permanently spend 2% of our economic output on defense. A few member states are not quite there yet, but they are on the way. For the future of Europe, it will be very important that we enable everyone to do what is necessary for them. In this respect, it is good that a very careful debate has now begun. I have personally said that, from my perspective, Germany can accept if we allow member states that want to spend more than 2% on their defense, that this is not blocked by the criteria we have in the European Union for state credit financing. I am convinced that there will be a way to ensure this in this direction and with various other options. It must be clear that we have a long-term lasting commitment, a long-term opportunity for defense overall in Europe to make the necessary expenditures, especially since we have already agreed, in addition to the 2% target, that within the framework of NATO, we specifically describe the capability goals that we have to fulfill. And from these, it must then also be determined what each individual country has to do. But we also need to describe ways in which such commitments can then be met. And that is why the debate is now correct, at the right time, and also suitable in the context of the ongoing understanding within NATO. But it is a moment where it is about security, and therefore it should be pursued with determination. Now, it should be advanced. I would like to add that this also applies to Germany. It is quite clear that our continued and further necessary support for Ukraine is only possible if we can decide to finance it separately. All attempts to finance this through cuts in the budget of our country, through cuts in infrastructure investments, whether it be railways, roads, or other tasks, or through cuts within our social framework, will fail and will not receive the support of the citizens. That doesn't have to be the case, because hardly anyone has come up with the idea that it can be financed from current expenditures. This applies equally to Germany, and honesty is required at this moment. This also applies to our responsibilities regarding defense, because if Germany is to continue spending 2% of its economic output on defense, as it currently does, under my leadership, we have increased spending for the Bundeswehr accordingly, then we will achieve this in the shortest time. Only if we can additionally mobilize 30 billion annually. And this can only be achieved if we create additional leeway within the framework of our debt rules in the basic law. And this is especially true when it comes to financing additional tasks to meet capability goals. And that is why this is the decisive moment to tell everyone we need an open, clear debate in Germany as well as in other European countries about our security challenges. And this must be conducted. And we must also say how we intend to finance the large financial expenditures associated with it. I, for one, am ready for this and call on everyone to be as well. Mr. Bundeswehr, are you also open to a new collective debt of the Europeans? We are now discussing the question of how we can handle this. And the proposal I have made is first to say, we allow individual member states greater leeway so that they can tackle this task. Otherwise, this debate will certainly be quite calm. There will be many proposals that need to be thoroughly examined. If you all ensure that we continue to keep the stability of our fiscal financing in mind, there will certainly be room for discussions with each other. But my proposal is the one I have made. Would Germany be willing to participate with soldiers in a security guarantee for Ukraine if necessary? It is completely premature and the entirely wrong time to have this discussion now. I am even a little irritated by these debates. I want to say that quite openly. Here, discussions are being held over the heads of Ukraine about the outcome of peace talks that have not taken place, and in which Ukraine has not said yes and has not been at the table discussing possible outcome variants. That is highly inappropriate, to be quite open and honest. We do not even know what the outcome will be. From my perspective, many different things are being discussed, from international peace groups to other matters. That is why this is an inappropriate debate at the wrong time and about the wrong topic. We are not yet at peace, but in the midst of a brutal war waged by Russia, which is being pushed forward without regard. So I believe that is the crucial point. However, for me, there is also a second aspect that I can clearly state here, but I know that I am very united on this with probably all relevant political leaders in Europe. There must be no division of security and responsibility between Europe and the USA. This means that NATO is based on us always acting together and being at risk together, thereby ensuring our security. That must not be called into question. This too must be kept in mind.